an attorney that I was able to retain to help me out in this.
Now, if the rest of the world knew what you knew about Colonel North,
Yes.
who I've interviewed once myself,
Oh my
I don't think
goodness.
he'd be doing war stories on
Well,
Fox News. He might be in jail right now.
That's right, and he, you know, he was convicted. Let there be no mistake.
Yeah.
He was a convicted felon, and later on, he was able to get those charges dropped. But
Why do you think he was never called for the Kerry Commission?
because probably his attorney told him not to, and yet he was very instrumental. You look at the book Firewall by Lawrence Walsh, and he will tell you exactly what Oliver North did illegally and wrong, and was convicted. But in my opinion, Johnny Sutton, Mark Rumbert are puppets for the Bush family. And this was payback for the Bush family.
And Johnny Sutton, who's most famous recently for putting the 2 border agents in jail who were trying to stop drugs coming over the border and who apparently were protecting themselves.
And you have the Death House case where Johnny Sutton allowed the informant to continue to kill people down in Mexico and so forth. So there's a lot. This is not the only one. And
who's the crook? Who are the crooks here? Not this guy. Let me ask you just one last thing. I wasn't able to go inside to view the trial because I don't carry ID, folks. I don't believe in carrying identification or having to hand it over to anybody who asks. But I did hear that you were somewhat reprimanded for being a DEA agent who sold guns to people who are going to kill police officers. I really thought that was facetious and quite a stretch of the imagination.
Well, you know, and the prosecutor Rumbert, it was so ignorant in the case, the fact that he mentioned 10 times the wrong number of guns that he was trying to charge me with, and secondly, he kept saying that the guns are using armor-piercing rounds, when in fact they don't even make armor-piercing rounds for that gun. And according to the ATF's website, it's a hunting gun.
Yeah.
It's a sporting gun. It has nothing to do with. It wasn't an AK-47 or anything like that. You know, it was just a couple of Benellis and a couple of 6 hours and some FN's guns, and that was it. And the prosecutor lied about guns being seized in Mexico that I had purchased, yet he couldn't produce serial numbers or produce anything, any evidence to back up his allegations. And I know he was making it up because one of the guns that he alleged was a PS-90, doesn't even exist in my case. So imagine that, you know.
It is indicative, though, isn't it, of the federal stance on guns? They feel anyone selling a gun are selling vehicles for cop killers.
Exactly.
As if we still don't have the right in this country to bear arms, to keep arms, to protect ourselves from the criminals who can get guns on the street at any time, at any moment that they want. And they also tried to tie your activity into the, which you know quite a lot about, the drug activity over the border in Mexico. This is why they went house to house in Houston last week looking for people's guns, accusing them of buying guns in their own name and sending them to criminals, which would probably be the most stupid thing you could do.
And that's why I initiated a sting operation against ATF back in the Valley, which started the whole case against me because they were racial profiling. Actually, an American citizen would buy a gun with their names and approved by ATF. 2 hours later, they're knocking at the door wanting to find out what the gun's at. I mean, that's Gestapo tactics. We're not in a third world country, you know. And but we certainly are starting to see all this now that these atrocities are happening.
And the freedoms in our country.
That's right.
Where do you go from here again? Is there a higher authority you can go to? Is there another level so that we can keep you out of jail?
The only level that I foresee is the fact for people to write Eric Holder. And
personally, right? Eric Holder, U.S. Attorney General.
Or call the Attorney General's office in Washington and you know, bombard.
They have the ability to commute your sentence, to pardon you, to do any of these
They
things.
have those abilities. They have the ability to dismiss the case from prosecutorial misconduct. I send them a 50-page complaint against Mark Rumbert, which should be under investigation right now, and shouldn't even be allowed, Jack, to be in there continuing with this case. So it's a mess.
Sully, what if we? I mean, this again is a really major example of the Fed superseding state authority. What if anyone watching this video were to call Rick Perry, the governor of Texas, and make him explain himself why our state laws are being superseded by the federal government when we are supposed to, according to the 10th Amendment, be a sovereign state?
Exactly. And you know, we are protected by the Second Amendment, and yet nobody seems to care about this. If I had the money to fight this, I probably would have won. And ineffective counsel, my attorney Eddie Lagarza was horrible at what he did. And what he did was, in my opinion, was that he cut a deal with the government to save his son and give me up. And that's basically what happened.
Yeah.
He didn't tell the courts that he was under investigation. He did not tell the courts that his son, the agents in my case, were involved in his son's case. And he himself represented his son because he did have a meeting the 26th of April of this year, in the McAllen office with the U.S. attorney there by the name of Leonard, who's his buddy. They went to law school together. So, you know, that's where the whole deal is at. And
we know Dick Cheney shot his friend in the face and went on continuing to steal the liberties of freedom-loving Americans. So do you think that George Herbert Walker Bush, Poppy Bush, got a little call just a few minutes ago?
Absolutely.
Said we got Cele for you.
Yeah,
George.
I just probably could see Mark Rubenberg calling his daddy, Johnny Sutton, and Johnny Sutton making a call to Bush Sr. saying, hey, it's a done deal, we got him, you know?
Yeah.
But that's okay, you know. As they say, revenge is best served cold.
Well, whatever happens, we're going to get you back here. And folks, you know, this isn't over yet. So Cele Castillo asking you, Jack Blood asking you, get a hold of Eric Holder, get a hold of Rick Perry. Every bit of information you need is at powderburns.info and at deadlinelive.info. And we hope that you won't just sit there watching the latest entertainment tonight, and that you'll actually do something for this great American. Thank you, Cele, very much for everything you've done for us.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.